Good evening, everybody. So let us start our lecture. Just as usual, let us see our schedule today. So according to our schedule, so we will finish methods and function chapter today, this week, okay? And today I will give you a bunch of examples how to write or create a method and how to use it in all three languages. Please give attention, and then after today I hope you will be able to do it by yourself. Is there any place that noise coming in? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so everybody just please give attention. So you don't need to write code for now. I will upload my code on Replit, and by the end of this lecture you will get at least 10 methods, 10 functions, okay? So before that, let us you remember that, anybody remember that where did we leave in our last lecture? In our last lecture we left in a position here. We discussed functions, return type and parameters, and what is that position? Maybe we left. Method name. We discuss signature. I'm sorry. Okay, here we left here. Okay, so we discussed in previous last lecture. We discussed what would be method's return type. Okay, and then another thing is that what would be method's name. Okay, a method's name is like a variable name, or it's called an identifier. Okay, so any name you can give, but that name should be an appropriate name. That name should be an appropriate, so that by looking the name you can guess what the function will do, what it will return. Okay, so you should give an appropriate name of a function. So by, however, so let me see here. In our last lecture we discussed this method, right? We discussed this method. What does this method do? Anyone can recall? It says it's sum, right?
It takes the summation from num1 to num2.
Yes. So that although it's a sum, it will sum, but someone may be confused by this name that it may be summing in two numbers, num1 and num2, right? But actually this method is not doing that. This method is summing up the numbers from lower to a range of a numbers, right? From the lower bound, this is the lower bound and this is the upper bound. Num1 is the lower bound and num2 is the upper bound, right? So you see that still this name is confusing, right? It's not an appropriate name. So in that case, I personally like to give this name, this function is a good name. For instance, I want to give this function name, for instance, sum of a series. Instead of giving this name of this method as a just sum, if I say sum of a series, that should be more appropriate, right? By looking this name, we can gauge that there will be a function that name will be sum of a series, and it will sum a series of numbers, some numbers between two integer numbers. This is the lower number and this is the upper number. So let me open the last program we discussed in our last lecture.
Okay, on one hand, I don't want to be that guy.
Give me 1 second. So this is the method. This is the program sum methods example 1 I discussed in all three languages, right? in C++, C#, and Java. So here, this is the sum method that I just copied from our slide, right? But this name, I'm telling that this name is not appropriate name. It's not an appropriate name. Okay. So I would personally like to give a name. For instance, this one, sum. You can give like this name, underscore. You can use underscore, sum of a like this. You can give a name, so it looks good, right? It's a meaningful name, right? Or you can give a name like this, sum of a name of a series, something like this. So whatever you give, this is the signature, right? Signature of this method. You need to give the exact name of your method, right? You need to give exact name of this method, and you need to call it by same name. So then it should work now. And it should work now. So what is your question?
I don't want to be that guy, but technically some of the series is redundant. The series is already a sum of numbers.
As I'm just telling, so name, I told you that you can give any name, but name should be appropriate name, that by looking the name you can guess what is going here, right? That was my goal. Okay, so instead of sum, for instance, so this is why. So you understand this one? So this is what is this one? It is called a function signature, right? So if in C, only in C++, if a function is defined or declared after the main method, after its user method, then before it use, we need to give it signature. And the signature, it could be more simple. For instance, in the signature, you do not even need to give the argument name. So just you can say int, and just you can say int over here. This will tell the compiler that there will be a function named sum of series, and it will use 2 integer type argument variables. Okay, no matter what, you will give our variable or argument name. It doesn't matter. Okay, still this program will work, whatever you want to do. Okay, so accordingly I have, so for instance, if I want to sum two numbers, for instance like this, integer sum of say two numbers, like for two numbers, so int. So this one I can have, okay, sum of two numbers, one in integer, another integer. I can say sum of two, I can give more name, for instance integer numbers. I can say sum of two maybe float numbers. So if I say float number, then I should give like float, and I should give float. Okay, and also the return type should be float, right? And the return type should be float. Okay, so here otherwise I could say like this, very shortcut. I could say sum, for instance I can say sum, just sum, and I can say just sum. So here give attention to this method. For both methods I have same name, right? It has name sum and it has name sum. Okay, is it allowed to have two different methods with same name?
Well, they're not the same. Yeah, because they're not the same because
Okay, in some languages and especially in object oriented fashion, it is allowable. This process is called method overloading, that you can, or function overloading. You can have a function with same name but with different type or different number of arguments. So here you can say another method. For instance, here, so here my first sum method has two integer type argument, right? And second one has one in two float type, and maybe I can have third one three integer type is allowed. Okay, I may have another one that may have four integer type. Okay, so these all are allowed. So these are called method overloading or function overloading. Okay, so in this course we are not teaching function overloading, method overloading. In 1322 you will learn more about this. So just I'm telling that it is doable, it is permissible. Okay, but one thing just you can remember that if there are more than one method with same name, okay, the methods must be different in terms of their number of parameters or types of parameters. So for this one, you see that they are different in terms of either all of these are different, right? In terms of either the parameter type or number of parameters. It has two parameters, but different type. You may have another one like this. You may have another one like this. You may have another one like okay, so all these methods, especially in object oriented fashion, it is doable. We can use it. Okay, you see that these methods, although they have same name, but they have different parameter type. But one thing, you cannot have a method with same parameters but with different argument, return type. This is not allowed. So for this one, right, they have same type argument, right, but they have return type is different, right? It is not allowed. In order to do method overloading, methods must be different in terms of their parameter type or parameter numbers. How many parameters I do have? Okay, so this is one thing you may need it for now, but in 1322 you will learn this. Okay, so for now we are not using these stuffs. So for instance, let us do the sum of two integer numbers and sum of two float numbers. So maybe I don't need this also. Just I discussed. We will start from here. So sum of a series, this is the signature of a method, right? I am just telling my compiler that I will be using a method that name will be sum of a series that will take two integer numbers. That's it. Okay, so then I will be able to call this method sum of a series like this. Okay, sum of a series, for instance, maybe like this. Like this, I will be able to call this method with parameter as I need. Okay, in our last lecture we also discussed how to generate random number, right? How to generate random number in all three languages, and we can pass that random number, our own generated random number, to as the argument of a function. Okay, so at this point I just gave the signature of this method and I am calling this method. Okay, I do not have this body yet or declaration yet. Actually I do not have it yet. Okay, so let me get my code from here. So this is the sum of a series. What it is doing, it is just summing up two numbers within this given range. Okay, so if I run this program, okay, one, okay, it is giving an error. linker command failed, command user b compiler. It's not a good compiler, it does not give an error. Somewhere maybe. I need to figure out. Okay, so far up to this is good, right? Okay, so I need to put sum of a series, this method over here, and I need to put call this method. Okay, it is working, right? Okay, so far what we learn over here, so we do not need to use give actual parameter name over here. If I give the name, that is okay, but it is useless. Okay, for function signature we do not need it. Okay, so everybody understand this method, how this method works? Okay, so now let us see the output. So I call, actually for now let us comment it out until this. I do not need this. I do not need this. I do not need to auto generate random number. I just want to do hard coded value. Okay, so let us see this only one time on call. What happens? See, I am executing only one of this line. It is executing only one this. Okay, everybody please give attention over here. So look at my output. Output is showing me sum of 1 plus dot dot plus 10 equal to 55, and at the end it is showing also 55. Okay, there are some redundant codes over here in my method. So let us go to our method. So let us see what is happening over here. So in my method, what I am doing over here, I am summing a number within the limit, and then this method returns a value, right? What kind of value it returns? Everybody please give me okay, integer. Okay, integer type, right? Okay, so at the end I have integer result. I'm returning this. Okay, then my question is that here I'm printing the sum of this line. Okay, so actually what happens, if a function returns a value, then usually that function does not print anything. The normal rule is that if a function returns a value, then the function usually does not print its output. So then who will be printing the output, right? The method, the user, or caller or host method, here is the main method, is the host method, should print the value, right? For instance, here it print the value, this one. But so if I do not give this command, then it will be printing only 55. Why the 55 is printing over here? So this method is returning a result, right? The result will be 55. Why it is 55? It is adding 1 plus 2 plus 3 up to 10. This is 55. Okay, so then it is printing that 55. But remember that if my method does not return anything, so then we say void. If it is void, then we cannot have a return value. We may have a return statement. Okay, so then in that case I need to change the signature, right? I need to change the signature of this method. Where it was integer, I need to put void. And then in that case if I try to run this program, you see that in this method there is no print statement, right? You would understand this? There is no print statement here, right? So here I have that, so that it does not it contain any print method. So who will be printing is this result? The caller, right? Who is the caller of this method? The main method. For now we are calling this method by main method, right? So main method should be printing. We are expecting that main method should print is over here. But let us try that if it can print that. It will not be able to print here. So my program is making an error. Anyone knows what is the error over here? The error over here, so the cout operator, it tried to print something, okay, but it could not actually. So if I write this line exactly like, instead of like this, if I call this method like this, okay, then the program, there will be no error, but there will be no output. You see the program is running, there is no error, but there is no output because this method is just executing. But is there any print statement over here? No, right? So if I want to print output, then I need this statement. Then at this page, if I run this program, it will output this. Everybody understand this? So usually if a method returns a value, then it does not print anything. But if a method does not return anything, then usually it prints everything. Okay, that problem previously we had a problem over here, right? We had a problem in this line. In this line, still if we want to execute this line, it will give an error. So here cout, println, and then console.writeLine, all this print method, okay, can print, use something, can print a method with an argument like if that method returns a value. So does this method returns a value? Look at for right current now, whatever signature it has, does it return a value? No, it does not return a value, right? Okay, that is a good interview question. The interview question there is that if a method does not return a value, then we put void. Void means that method execute a lot of things, whatever you want, but it does not return any value. Okay, the interview question is that, critical interview question is that if a method does not return a value, that means if a method has a return type void, can it have a return statement? Yes, but it cannot return a value. Let us check that. This program is running okay, right? Okay, so the error is over here. Error is over here, otherwise this program is running okay. Okay, this program, this method has a void type return, so but so that it cannot return a value. So if I try to execute this, if I want to say returns result, it will not execute. It will give an error. You say that the error is over here, return result. What is the reason? You say that it says that void function sum of a series should not return a value. So what we have learned? So if a method has a return type void, it cannot return a value. Everybody remember that? Okay, but still it can have a return statement. What is a return statement? This is a return statement. We can say this is a return statement, or if we say just return, if we say just return, that is also a return statement. So everyone understand that? If a method has a return type void, then it cannot return a value. That was the value I was trying to return. but it still can have a return statement. Okay, so in this method that has a return type void, we must have its own print statement, otherwise it will not work. So, and another thing is that, keep attention please, if a method does not return a value, then we cannot use like this statement. So if a method, this method does not return a value, then you cannot use this statement. So this statement and this statement, so you are calling this function independently, but here you are calling this function within the cout is an operator in C++, and like in Java we say system.out.println. So if a method does not return a value, you cannot use that method within println. So here in our last lecture we discussed this program in C++, and this program we discussed in Java, and we discussed similar program in C#. Okay, let us see. So here this method, it returns a value, right? This method, it C++, Java, it works good. Okay, it is working. You see that it is working. And but if I give return type void, okay, what will be error over here? Can I run this program? I can try, but it will not work. What is the reason here? There is only one single change. I said void, that means it cannot return any value. So I can have a return statement just like this, return, that's good, but I cannot have a return value, but there will be error over here. So what is the error over here? So error will be, since this sum method does not return a value, we cannot use this sum method within the print method. Did you understand? And same thing will be in C#. So in C#, if we say void sum, if we say void sum over here, I cannot have a return statement. If I want to try it, it will give an error, lot of error. You see that only one change, and then we cannot have this return statement actually. Then this will not make an error, but other error will come here because I cannot use this way. So then what is the appropriate way to call this? To call it independently, but not within another method as an argument. If I call like this way, this will be good. If I call like this way, this will be good, but one thing is that there is no output, right? I'm calling some method, and some method does not have any output statement. So now remember that if a method does not return a value, then it should contain its own output statement. That means if you write a method that returns void, returns nothing, then you should have its own print statement. Understand everybody? So in your test you may do this kind of mistake. Many students do this kind of mistake. So remember that if your method does not have return a value, then the method must have its own print statement. Otherwise, who will be printing that? There is a way that in main method you can do something to print it, but that will take time. For instance, in my main method, I can say like this, but that is time consuming and difficult for you. The sum of like this plus x plus okay, something like this, plus y plus equal to, then you can have like this, but there is time consuming and many of you may not be able to do this. Okay, they still I have an error, sum of this plus this, sum of plus x plus y.
You need another parenthesis on line 9.
Line number, oh sorry, I have a parenthesis over here. Thank you. Okay, the sum of 1, I say and then I can say, instead of write line, and I can say, okay, so that is a caricature, you may not be able to do it. Okay, so whatever we learned, that if a method does not return a value, then it should have its own print statement, right? Okay, that's good. So everybody understand this method, how to declare a method and how to call a method? You understand, right? So if you understand this, then the remaining part will be easy. Okay, so now I have about 10 methods. I will start from, I discuss sum of a series a number of times so that you become clear how to declare a method and how to use it. Okay, anybody has any confusion about how to declare a method and how to call it, how to pass value? Everyone understands? Okay, then if you understand, then this should be, I need just 20 more minutes to discuss 10 more methods. Okay, so if I can do, or two things I can do. I can create one independent program per each method, or I can put all methods in one file, one program file. What do you like? So that will take time, for instance. So for instance, I'm telling you that I want to discuss this number of methods right now, about 10 methods within the next 30 minutes maybe. So I can create an independent program on Replit for each of these methods, or I can do all together in one method. Okay, so whatever you do, so if I write 10 methods different, you may be counting 10 programs differently, but I don't care quantity, I care quality. Okay, so if you all put all together and if you understand, then even if you count in one program, then fine, no problem. Okay, and by the end of this lecture, I will finish all of this, complete all of this in Java, in C++, not on C++, right? C++. Maybe tonight I will convert it into Java and C#, but you should be able, I will tell what are the differences. You should be able to convert it. It's not a big deal, okay? So we already discussed what are the difference between C++, Java and C#, right? By this program, right? So same thing, that this program I discussed. Is it working? Okay, is it working? No, I made changes over here. Okay. Okay, is it working? Okay, these are okay. So let us go one by one. First of all, we want to find average of two numbers. How should we find average of two numbers? What is the algorithm or logic behind finding average of two numbers? Okay, and what should be a return value, return type?
Well, actually, it is float, but it should be int if you're taking the average of two integers. Well, but then again, if you're dividing
Yeah.
It should be float, because
Should
divided.
be, yeah. So for instance, if you add up 2 and 6, two even numbers, then the average would be uneven, right? But if one of the numbers is odd, the result will be an odd number, right? So if you divide one number by 2, then the number result will be a floating point, right? So you should return a float number. Okay, so then what will be so this is the signature, right? This is called signature, right? It is telling my compiler that I will be using a method named average2 av2, and that will take two integer type arguments. So let us create this method. So what will be my method name? This one, right? And then I need this, right? So what I
So why do you put all the methods at the bottom and have the signature at the top?
Okay, so then if I put all of the method in the over here, then my main method will go all the way end. Usually the for project work, usually these are put on a header file. You mean here the name and header file. All the signatures are put in a different file. It's called header file, and this header file was linked to the main program to use. Okay, I can use it here, but if I put this code over here, then I do not need the signature, right? This is the problem. This is issue only for C++. In Java and in C#, no matter where do you put your method, as long as you put in within the class, it works. So what would be my output of this one? What should be my code for this one? Anyone please help me? For this one, what should be my output? What should be my code for us over here?
So X and Y.
Okay. Yes, I need to give a name exactly over here. In the signature, it was not required, but in the actual body, I need a name. For instance, you can say num1, and you can say num2. Then I can say return num1 plus num2 divided by 2.0. Okay, two things over here. So if I divide an integer number by another integer number like 2, the result will be an integer. But we are aware that for some cases there will be some decimal result, right? So then we need to either this one, we need to convert either this is called typecasting. Can you please stop side tracking? Either you need to do like this, typecasting, or you need to do divide by 2.0. Either will work. For the division operator, if one of this is float type, the result will be float. Okay, so let me call this method average 2 3. So average 2 3. Okay, so what is my x1 and x2? Okay, let me say average 2 and 3. Let me call it, and let me call it 20 and 13, 21 and 3. Okay. Okay, the error is coming here from here. So this one is returning 2 and 3, add up 5 divided by 2.5, right? And it is returning 20 plus 33 divided by 2 equal to 16.5. And this is 24 divided by 2 equal to 12. Okay, so
Print the point zero.
okay, then if I what is the map? So if I do not give this, if I do not do the typecasting, then what will happen? Let us see in traditional program.
No,
Did
when
I
you
get
had the
exact
float-
result?
No, when you had the float, it only had 12. It didn't have 12.0. Why is that?
Because whenever it says that for the division operator, if both operands are integer, then result will be integer. Integer means whole number. So no matter what the result is, for instance, I'm passing first time I'm passing
No, you
2 and
should
3.
you should still be able to print 12.0.
Yes, if I want to print 12.0, then I need to either use divide by 2.0.
Can we run it and see if it prints 12.0?
No, it will not. Oh, 12.0 is not printing because that one is getting integer, so you need to do formatting. There's another process is called print format. So in C++, search for print format, then it will give you code.
You need to print format.
Yes, print format. So if you give command C++ print format, there are bunch of rules that how to format in C++ code, in C++ or Java. For instance, sometimes we need to align, right? For calculation, money calculation, we put all the money in the decimal to decimal point, right? Alignment, right? So in this case, there is a rule for print format. So sorry, my computer is slow. So there are some libraries, and then you can use this formatted output in C++. There are some good libraries, and you can use this. Okay, so whatever we learned, that if we do not use this, for instance, okay, if we do not use 2.0, then it will not give us expected result. Understand everybody what is the reason? Okay, the result for this, the reason is that this limitation of this operator. So this is another way that it has another way that is called typecasting. I am converting this whole number into float. Converting an integer number to a floating number, just will add 0.0 at the end. Okay, that will work. Okay, now let us see what we have. For instance, average 3. Okay, so what will be my function for average 3? Okay, what will be my function for average 3? Okay, so then it is I mean another name int num3 and then plus num3 divided by 3, right? Okay, so then I need to rename it num3. Now if I call this average I'm not using this one. One, 2, and 3. So then actually the last output, okay, do not be confused. So I am using this one and this one. So only this output I want to see. So result will be 1 plus 2, 3. 3 plus 3, 6 divided by 2 equal to, okay, let us give 4. Then 2.666, okay. Usually it, okay. So if you use formatting, then you can use 2 decimal point or 3 decimal point or 4 decimal point. Okay. Now you understand. Now if on that again I'm telling that if my float this average method does not return a value, if it has a return type float, then I should have a print statement within this method. Otherwise, like this statement will not work. Okay. So we learn how to find average of two numbers and how to find average of three numbers. Okay. So I'm getting my. So this is why I would like to put this all the way end. So it will not be clumsy. Okay, I do not need this one over here. I need the signature over here. Okay, then how to find average of a series? Like we are summing up a series over here, right? Okay, how to find average of a series? Should I give you as a homework or activity? Okay, for instance, how to find a average of a series like average of a series 1 to 10.
Okay, so a average of a sequence, or maybe it would be average of a series. Who knows? Whatever. That's not important. It would just be, I mean, for 1 to 10, it would just be 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 plus 6 times 10 divided by 10. But so in general, you'd have to set up a loop that started at the first one, went over 10, went over the last one, added them all together, like the older sum one, but then also defined another variable that incremented by 1 every time the loop increased, every time the loop went by. So, and then at the very end, once the loop was done, took the summation and divided it by the other variables.
Okay, yes, this one you are correct. So this one I want to make it float. Okay, instead of sum, let us make it AVG of a series. Okay, so what we are doing over here, so here I need to count I, right? And I need to return result divided by not I is coming I, actually I minus 1, because the last one I will getting 1. Let me see. Okay, the I is local variable over here, so then I need to put I int I equal to 0. Okay, easy. It should be like this. Okay. Okay, average of 1, 2, 2, 2, 2 plus 10, it should be 5.5, right? 55 divided by 10, it should be 5.5. Why it is giving me 5? Because I did not use typecasting, right? So I need to use float. Okay, give attention to the next lecture. I will give you hands-on activity to work on, okay?
You give us a what activity?
Hands-on activity, in class activity. You have to do it in class. Okay, today I am teaching you how to create a method, and then from next lecture I will do you, maybe I will spend whole lecture for activities, and whatever we will discuss tonight and next lecture there will be some test question. So you understand? Okay, there is giving an error. So what is that error? Warning generated. Okay. Okay, so actually it should return something. Since as a return, it has a return statement, let me make it void. Okay, I do not need this return. So then it should work. Then there is a problem over here. You understand the problem? I cannot use this way, right? So since there is no return type, I cannot call this way, this guy. I need to call this way. So you understand? Okay, now let us see the next program. Okay, how to find max of two numbers? Max of two numbers. How to find max of two numbers?
Define a variable, set it equal to the first number, if statement.
For instance, this is, for instance, I need to declare result.
Right.
If num1 greater or equal to num2, then my result will be num1, right?
That's true, that's true.
Otherwise, else result will be num2. Okay, so I have, and then how to find the minimum of two numbers? Just opposite sign, right? Instead of greater or equal to over here, we put less or equal to. Okay, you don't need to write down the code. So how to find maximum of three numbers? I have code over here, so let me put all of this in the program. Over here, then I can call max 1 2 3 this. Okay, what is the error for integer? Okay, so I don't have x1 x2 x3. Actually I auto generated x1 x2 and x3. Okay, so let me reinstate this my code. x1 x2 and x3. x1 x2 and x3 I auto generated. So integer two numbers, maybe 1 and another number is 10. So I'm getting max of 3 value. Okay, for this one, okay, it is not working. Max of 2 3 and 10 should be, it should be 10. This is not working. Number 3 is not working. Let me see why the number 3 is not working. Min 3. I don't have x3. X3, I'm generating x3. For now, let us keep it. Okay, the last two is more important. Okay, give attention please for the last two. This is the thing I will ask you to do code, live code in your next lecture. In upcoming lecture, if you come here in this class, then you have to write program. Bring your computer, okay? You have to write program in your next lecture. And then I will must ask you how to write code for finding GCD. You understand GCD, right? Greatest common divisor, and LCM is the lowest common multiple, right? Did you understand GCD and LCM? You don't understand? This is a middle school math. You should review. You recall now? This is not even high school math. This is middle school math. How to find GCD and LCM. You did not go? Okay. Okay, there are multiple ways. There are maybe multiple ways to find how to GCD. Okay, GCD of 2 numbers, 3 numbers, a bunch of numbers. Okay, so far we are discussing only for 2 numbers. Okay, for more than 3 or more numbers, we will discuss when we discuss array. When we discuss array, then we will learn how to add a bunch of numbers, a set of numbers, a series of all. Okay, or how to find average of an array, that means a bunch of numbers. How to find GCD of a bunch of numbers. Okay, how to, but for we are discussing for only 2 numbers. Okay, so this is my code that it works only for 2 numbers, GCD and LCM. So if you find a better code, or if you do Google search, you may get another code. Okay, other code. So for now I'm giving you code. Maybe if I have time, then I will discuss. Otherwise I will discuss in next lecture how this method works. So let us do GCD.
I have a question. How do
Yes.
you find the greatest common denominator if you can't write a fraction?
Okay, that is the good question to ask Siri. Hi Siri, how to find the denominator of 2 numbers?
Yeah, that's what class,
Okay, wait.
like, that's why when the class back.
Yes, this is why then in order to ask me that question, you need to do whatever I give you first. You need to work. Okay, let us see this, then we will discuss whatever you have in mind. Okay, I enter 2 numbers, 3 and 6. The greatest common divisor, GCD of 3. Okay, 3 and 10 is getting getting 2. Okay, it is not printing 6 and 10. Okay, maybe I have a mistake in my code somewhere.
Yeah.
Let me see. Okay, so here I'm giving I don't need this code. It's disturbing. This is disturbing. Okay. Okay. Oh, I put x and y over here, then again I was generating y over here. That was the problem. X, what is x? True. X, y, and g.
Professor, I think we're all lost. Just me?
Okay, integer 2 and 6. Okay, it is not getting 2 and 6, 7 and 7. Why it is getting 7 and 7? Why am I calling max GCD? Okay, if I would write all in a different file, that works, but I put all in all file, so this is why it is getting an error.
Thankfully, we have like 30 code.
Yeah, I put all together in one code, so this is giving me an error. Okay, I got it. So the greatest common divisor of 9 and 1 is 1, and the least common divisor is, so let me run this program again. 3 and 6, 6 and 9. It works. Okay, yes.
From x1 and x2 to x and y.
I have a bunch of codes over here, so all messed up. Okay, who can help me to convert this code from C++ to Java or C#? You can do?
Wait, but he's
Okay.
saying that to change it from x1, x2 to x and y.
Okay, I'm fixing this code. So let us see that where is the error. So here I'm generating x1, x2 and x3, and I'm generating y over here, right?
Yeah, but are you supposed to be generating random numbers?
I discussed all of that in last lecture, and today all code I put in one place. This is why I do not need to generate random number over here, but this one.
Right, but why are we generating random numbers from
To discuss that we can do either way. To discuss that we can do either way. We can do this by generating number, or we can do it by
But how do you find the greatest common
10.
divisor by a random number?
Randomly generating two numbers like 6, 7 or 3, 7, and then it is working on that two numbers. Let me see, let me fix my code and then see. You see it works right now. So the GCD of 2 and 10 is 2, right? And the LCM 2 and 10 is 10. So why it is giving me the 2 again and then 10 again over here? Because I have this code in dual modes. I actually both return, and then I also put the output statement. This is why it is showing both this statement over here, and it's returning the max value over here, and that is using as the LCM. So my code over here, it is working. All of these are working code. So who wants to volunteer to convert this code from C++ to Java and C#? Okay, then get my code from over here and then convert it, then send me the link, email me the link
You mean now or
when you go home tonight. Okay,
I'm just saying I could do Java.
okay, you will do Java. Your name is C#, right? That's good. I got two people. Okay, that's good. Great job.
I'll just get it.
Okay, let us recap what we learned today. Okay, let us recap what we learned today. So we learned today how to give a good name of a method, right? We learned this, how to give a good and appropriate name of a method. So we discuss also scope of a variable: local variable, global variable, and argument variable. There are 3 scopes, right? So when a variable is declared within a method, then it's called local variable. When a variable is declared before the method, then it is called outside the method, then it's called global variable. And when a variable is declared within the parentheses of a method, then it is called argument variable. There are 3 scopes of variables. So these are local variable. For instance, here this is a local variable. It is defined within this block, so it will not work outside this if block. Okay, and then we discuss parameter passing, and we discuss how we can have multiple methods with same name. That is called method overloading. You don't need to learn this. That is 1322 content. And we discuss how to pass parameters.
Wait, go back. Method overloading?
Yeah, method overloading that I discussed. We can have a same name method, same name with different set of parameters. That is called, this is the discussed thing I discussed. This is called method overloading, but that is not included in this course. Okay, so then we discuss how to give a good name of a method and return type, right? We understand what should be return type, and how to, we discuss how to use what is the temporary statement to convert one data type to another. This is called typecasting. We discuss this, and we discuss a method like this, how this method works. So whatever this slide says, I discuss this with live program. Okay, if you go through these slides, and then this should be crystal clear right now. If you do not understand this, then bring it to in our next lecture. We will discuss whatever you did not. Okay, and then in this class activities we will start from here. So in class problem, okay, try this problem and the two problems, max, find GCD and find LCM. Okay, most probably you will get a test question to find either LCM or GCD. Okay, and there are some questions how to find sum of the integers from 1 to 10, 2 to 30. I discussed this program, right?
Can we go back to slide 24 through the
And this is the method we discuss, and we discuss max, how to find max, and we discuss how to find min. And then one thing I have, method overloading is here, and then I discuss method overloading. And
Wait, you're talking over me. What's number 62? Slide 62.
okay, this is the thing that I will discuss in our next lecture. Okay, that is the thing I'm skipping. We will discuss this in our next lecture, but I'll accept this topic, this subtopic. Okay, so the way I discuss everything. Except this, I discuss everything. Okay.
So today we talked through slide 24 and 61. Already did that.
Okay, next time remember me, so whatever I skipped. And in our next lecture, be prepared, bring your computer, you have to write program, live program, okay? In our next lecture. Thank you so much.
I unfortunately missed the first test. I know it was a long time ago. But I was just wanting you to make sure that I can make it up by taking the final, correct? And the final, can we make up one?
If you miss any more test, then you will get zero.
Right.
No. Your test, you don't know your test? Go to the schedule, please.